What's going on, fellow A-Plusers? It's your boy Adam Perez. Let's boonin' go, baby, as we wind up having ourselves the premiere episode of Bakuage Sentai BoonBoomger this week. And I'm going to go ahead and give you guys my thoughts and review on episode number 1. That's right, it's been a minute since I put my hat in the tokusatsu fandom, if you will, in regards to reviewing Super Sentai. But listen, the more the merrier. We love doing long form reviews out here, so if you enjoy hearing my thoughts, I hope you guys certainly stick around. It's been a minute since I've done a reviews for a Super Sentai series on a consistent basis. Look, man, I'm getting older. All right, I'm 41 right now. The idea of keeping up week to week for 40 plus weeks is definitely some work. People definitely put some work in when it comes to these type of reviews. So let's see how this goes. But look, the reviews, I should say the trailers, if you will, for Boon Boomger really grabbed my attention and thought, you know what, Adam, come back. Come back home to Super Sentai and do some reviews. So here we are, episode number 1. We'll see how the rest of this series definitely goes. But listen, first impressions, I enjoyed it. I had a good time when it comes to episode 1. Definitely have my pros and cons. We'll definitely go ahead and certainly break them down. But first impressions, I thought was certainly an enjoyable one. This felt like a good Super Sentai to kind of come back to. One that doesn't seem like it's taking itself maybe too seriously, but one that's also not over the top comedic, at least it feels like from the first episode. So I think this is going to be a nice little balance here, and I think there's probably more to definitely explore, especially the concept of the first episode sort of tackling the idea of Boone Pink and Mira really standing on her own 2 feet, right? Fighting for what she certainly wanted for herself, not necessarily being tugged and being, between two people, being told what to do. This is really her kind of taking a stance for herself and kind of directing and going down her own path at the end of the day. And so for me, I thought that was a pretty interesting first episode topic to go ahead and tackle and to kind of see how she winds up becoming a part of the group. And so there's a part of me that's thinking to myself, like, hey, if they don't mind tackling something along those lines, maybe there's certainly some growth here in this particular episode. But ladies and gentlemen, let's get into this review, shall we? The things that really worked for me, I really like the Red Ranger in here, Taya. Love his charisma. He's got a great smile for sure. Love the idea of him being sort of like that transporter. He calls himself a delivery man. The idea of, look, the delivery man, gets what he needs, takes it to whatever destination, sort of thing. I am kind of curious how they're going to play off of that on the week to week basis. Look, I can't lie. The first impression of this series, him coming in and ripping a bride out of her fiance's hand and just scooping her up and taking her in his hot rod car, sort of thing. Really great impression. A really great impression, if you ask me. But clearly she didn't want to be in that relationship. I mean, even the father of the fiance was like, bring that broad back, in the English subtitles that I wind up reading. So clearly they didn't really respect her enough into the family that she was certainly going to marry, and she clearly didn't respect the boyfriend enough that was like that actually hired the BoonBoomgers to pick her up and transport her to the airport. The fiance, or I should say the bride, being Mira, who eventually does go on to become Boone Pink. So really cool first impressions of Taya as the delivery man in here. We do get a couple of glimpses, I think a little tease in the cameo at Boone Orange and Boone Black, who I think is the police officer that might be revealed later on as the series continues. But I really enjoyed the first impression of Taya in here, kind of being open-minded enough to give Mira her space to kind of make decisions on her own, sort of thing. Really understanding the situation, being able to pick up and understanding the situation that she kind of finds herself in, her being somebody that really wants to kind of take the wheel for herself, but is maybe a little bit afraid to, or hasn't necessarily done so yet. And he's really the one that kind of opens her eyes to making that first step on her own, to where she decides, you know what, I'm done being married. I'm done being told what to do. I'm gonna do what's right for me. And so, I'm kind of curious if he's gonna be dropping gems like that on other people that he winds up meeting or delivering items, certainly too. But first impressions, he seems like he's a pretty chill, cool, laid back guy that's just gonna follow his own path, and hopefully bring other people on board that wants to follow their own path too. And considering what Mira's story is, it does make me wonder what Boon Blue's story is in Ichiro or Chisiro. I believe they called him Chisiro in the English subtitles that I wound up reading, but I think his name is Ichiro, if I'm not mistaken, or Ishiro. So I am kind of curious as to what his story, and I know he's the tech guy, but is there sort of a path that he decided, like, right, like what wheel did he decide to take in order to become a member of the BoonBoomgers? So I think there's a lot of interesting story certainly left to be told. Clearly, when it comes to Ishiro, clearly more of his backstory to be revealed. So I liked all the main characters in here. I thought Mira left a pretty good first impression. She seemed super giddy to become a BoonBoomger. I mean, she had a smile on her face the whole entire time she did her henshin sequence. And again, I feel like we've seen that before, the idea of like when it comes to the using your changer to like speed it across your arm sort of thing, to like ignite it, if you will. I feel like we've seen that before, but it works each and every time. I mean, it gets me hyped for sure. um the henshin sequence, I definitely do think I probably would have desired a little bit more. The suits have officially grown on me. I absolutely love the suits in here. I do love during the henshin sequence how you have the speedometer and it just keeps spinning into flames and then it throws itself onto the suit. The suits look cleaner and cleaner to me each and every time I see it. And I even talked about this a little bit when we did our review for some of the teasers and the official trailers that we wind up getting. Me noticing the wheels, not just so much on the boots, which I think really showcased himself extremely well during the action sequences and things like that in regards to speeding up Boon Red during the fight sequence, but also the ability of the ones on the back that I didn't notice originally and how they were utilized in here, by spinning super fast, being used sort of like as a shield, and then him even being able to kind of use them like in remote control form as weapons. I thought that's really cool, and again, that's just something that enhances my enjoyability certainly of these suits. So they definitely continue to grow on me as I see them more in action. And I don't know who the director was, the action director, or even some of the cinematography in here, but it looks great. The action direction work, very speedy, great edits. The way that they have just the action choreography works really well, in the sense that we had to get a few slow motion shots because of the fact that he's moving sort of so fast, if you will. Using the wheels to kind of climb up the wall and then into the backflip, I thought was a really sick move, and great choreography of him falling down and sort of shooting the enemies and whatnot. So the action pieces are in here, even when you start including Boon Blue, who's I thought it was just gonna be like I don't want to say like just a regular laser, like a pew 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 pew, but the fact that it's like a semi-automatic sort of thing, fantastic. I absolutely love it. Great action sequence. And Boon Pink seems, I thought it was another sword, but she almost uses it sort of like as a club, if you will. She winds up like knocking one of the henchmen like clear into space sort of thing, and even used it around her wrist as a shield as well. Really great use of weapons to make them stand out in here, and the choreography I thought was really on point. So really impressive. And again, just the directing work alone in here kind of really stood out. Some really great angles, if you will. And I want to see more car chases. That's the only thing I ask for, is please more car chases in this series. If I did have a con about this, I didn't really care for the villains. The Hashalians, however they certainly pronounce them, didn't really care for them. It was one of those things where it just feels like they just threw them into this episode, and I'm sure maybe we'll get a little bit of an explanation of their background sort of thing. I mean, they pretty much just teased at the idea that they were like the first people here, in the sense of like maybe they're racing with other sort of alien species and they discovered Earth, and so now that they've discovered it, now they're going to be the ones to kind of have fun and take control of it, if you will. But it left me, it just felt lacking to me. It definitely wanted me to have more. If there was any standout, it was probably Yarukar, the little creature with the exhaust coming out of the side of him, he probably was the only standout in here. But aside from that, I really could give two shits about the alien villains that we wind up having in here. But I think what really did surprise me, that I wasn't sure how I would feel about it, is all of the mech sequences, especially on the highway space or like the Rainbow Road. To be able to see not only the three mechs that they control, I think it's the BoonBoomger trailer. The off-road and the wagon, if I'm not mistaken. Love the love seeing them get into their vehicles, being sort of transported to like a whole nother dimension of like this rainbow road, and being able to see how they battle along it. Like I wonder if we're gonna have a battle between these cars and the Yaru car every episode. Are they gonna kind of mix it up a little bit? But special effects wise, it looked really great, and it also highlighted Mari does have, or Mira, I should say, does have like her own talent, if you will, and that she's also a fantastic driver. Like getting an opportunity to see her not only push on the gas, but also do some incredible drifting and some really cool car flips over the Yaru car and whatnot, really goes to show that she can handle herself, certainly behind the wheel. And that definitely surprised me. Even getting an opportunity to see how their robot winds up sort of coming together, felt very Transformers-like. The trailer itself felt very sort of Optimus Prime, in a sense that he's almost like legit his own robot, with the extension of just a couple of additional sort of pieces here and there. You know, I do wonder if Boon Blue and Boon Pink are always going to choose those two particular vehicles to start off with, as we did see just a barrage of different vehicles that it seems like anytime that they're on this road, they can maybe pick and choose, or add numerous other sort of vehicles to sort of the main robot. I even dig the idea that the robot itself has like a two-piece cape, it looks like. I thought that's a pretty cool little addition in here as well. So yeah, man, some really great standouts in regards to at least the forming of their gigantic mech really worked for me. The special effects of them racing on that road really stood out and led for a really great sort of action piece. Now, I know I asked for car chase scenes, and that definitely was one pretty high octane one for sure, but I really want to see Taya's car in some sort of car chase at some point in time, and I'm hoping multiple times also, not just the full CGI effect sort of look. But you know, overall, good first impressions. I do wish that it had a little bit more oomph. I don't know if that's like me wanting this series to have a little bit more seriousness to it, or a more mature theme as of right now. Maybe that was my own kind of expectations going into it, so maybe it left me wanting a little bit more. But again, I think Taya's first impression was a great one. Mira's first impression, especially the idea of her having a significant story in here, and really a pivotal one for just her own character and how she winds up becoming a BoonBoomger, was a great one. And I think the all the mech stuff really won it over for me. The suits continue to grow on me. Henshin sequence was a little bit lacking, but it was cool to kind of see everybody together in here. And we actually wind up getting ourselves an official roll call, which I thought was pretty cool. Like Boom Dario was really asking for it, even though Ishiro was like, do we have to, guys? Like, do we have to? But I absolutely love it. I love the spin for Boon Pink, to where she falls down, but she just rolls with it and hits a pose at the end, sort of thing. So some really great elements, I think. And so there is a part of me that thinks that this series could potentially grow on me. I'm not going to give the first episode an A+ or anything like that. If anything, I'll probably give it a solid B. So needs improvement in certain areas, but great, certainly first impression, to be quite frank with you. So I want to know what you guys think. Again, these are just simply my A+ opinions. At the end of the day, I want to know yours. What did you like about the first episode of BoonBoomger? What didn't you like? Go ahead and certainly let me know your thoughts in the comment section box below, because at the end of the day, these are just my A+ opinions. I want to know yours. Let your thoughts be known in the comment section box below. So until next time, guys, do me a big favor. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll see you boon. Bye.